Now we move on to the next topic, which is goods. So under goods, we'll do what are goods, what are the different types of goods, and other definitions related to goods and the contract of sale. But before getting on with the definitions, there are a couple of questions which I would like to ask you. What comes to your mind when you think of goods? Is this pen a good? Is your laptop a good? Is your mobile a good? Do you know rubbers, erasers, sharpeners, pencils, umbrellas, bags, coolers, chairs, tables, books, stationery items, wallets, papers, are these goods? Again, do you think copyrights, patents, other intangible assets, trade like trademarks and brands, are these things goods? Again, do you think things like trees, land, houses, buildings, commercial complexes, residential complexes, are these goods? Again, do you think things like currencies, notes, coins, are these goods? Things like crops, shares, debentures, bonds, are these goods? So there are a lot of things which come under the ambit of goods. At the same time, there are a lot of things which have been kept outside the purview, outside the ambit of goods. So now let us understand, what do you mean by goods? What are the things which are considered as goods, and what are the things which are not considered as goods? Let's see. So, what are goods? Some things are obviously understood as goods. Things like cell phone, books, stationery items, cars, aeroplanes, submarines, ships, missiles. All these are goods. We know them. We deal in these things in our day-to-day lives. A lot of these things we purchase, we sell daily. But there are some things which are not as obvious. Things like copyrights, things like goodwill, things like shares, things like grass, trees, minerals. These are also considered as goods. Now, copyrights, patents, goodwill, these are intangible assets. You cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot feel these assets because there's nothing physical about them. But still they exist, and thus they are called as intangible assets. So let me tell you what is a copyright. Copyright means it is a right which is owned by one person to make copies of his art, to make copies of his skill, to make copies of what he is master in, what he has produced. For example, Kishore Kumar. Now, he was a very well known singer, so he sang many songs. So it was his talent, his art, his skill, because of which it was possible for him to sing songs. So he can be said to own the copyrights. He is the person who made these songs, who has sung these songs, and now he can make copies of it and sell. That is, he can make cassettes, he can make CDs, DVDs, any media which contains these songs. So he can make copies and sell. Now, no other person can make copies and sell. You would have seen on your books there must be this sign. This is the copyright sign, and there it would have been written as copyright with authors or copyright with the publishers, and they would have given the name and address of the publisher. That means the right to make copies of this book and sell it to the market, sell it in the market, lies with the authors or the publishers, whoever holds that right. Now, this right cannot be seen, this right cannot be touched, yet it exists, and this exists in the form of an asset. So, it is called as copyright. In the same fashion, you have patents. Now, what are patents? Patents patents are rights held by manufacturers. You would have seen, you know, to make a lot of medicines, a lot of formulations are required. Every medicine has its formulation. Some milligrams of this drug, some milligrams of that drug. So you add up 5 to 7 drugs and come up with a medicine. So this formulation, this formula of making that medicine is called as a patent. The person who owns this formula is said to own the patent for that medicine. So, like copyrights relates to some art forms like singing, making movies, paintings, writing books. So these are art forms. So you have copyrights relating to these. At the same time, rights related to manufacturing of a product are called as patents. When only you have the right to manufacture a product, you will be said to own the patent for it. Same thing you would have seen in biscuits or chocolates. There is a formula to make a chocolate. Every chocolate or every biscuit of the same brand tastes the same. Two 5-star or two Dairy Milk chocolates would hardly taste different because there's a formula to manufacture a Dairy Milk chocolate. So Cadbury owns the formula to make the Dairy Milk chocolate. So Cadbury owns the patent, we can say. So whatever rights of manufacturing a product and selling it to the market are there, if a manufacturer owns it, he is said to own patents. So even these copyrights, patents, brands, trademarks, these are goods, though intangible, yet they are considered as goods. The next is goodwill. Now, what is a goodwill? Goodwill means reputation of your business. Now, how can goodwill be considered goods? A goodwill is just your reputation. Can you sell your goodwill? Yes, you can sell your goodwill. Normally, when persons or people sell business, they sell their goodwill also. Goodwill is the reputation they command in the market. The example I gave you, Dairy Milk, it has a reputation in the market. Cadbury, it has a reputation in the market. At the same time, Tata's have a reputation in the market. Reliance has reputation in the market. It has goodwill. Again, you have Birlas who have reputation in the market. Brands like Lux, Dove have reputation in the market. People go to the market and ask for products like Dove, Olay. They have reputation in the market. Camlin. All these brands have reputation in the market. These products sell by their name, sell by the brand. And this additional or increased sales which a brand experiences is called as goodwill on account of its reputation. Now these products are sold by reputation, so this will be called as goodwill. No, it is not necessary that only big brands have goodwill. Maybe a sweets shop, a mithai wala, may have reputation. People go to his shop only to buy the sweets because he's pretty famous in your locality. Maybe, a teacher running a classes, he may also have reputation. So all the students in the local area go to him for coaching. So this is what we call as goodwill. His name commands business. His name demands business from the market. So when persons or the owners who own the business sell their business, they sell the goodwill also. They sell their name, their brand also. And when they sell their brand, they sell their name, they are doing what? They are selling their goodwill. So goodwill is also considered as a good. Now, please understand again, goodwill is also intangible. You cannot see goodwill. You cannot touch goodwill. You cannot, you know, smell goodwill. You can only realize or experience that particular brand has goodwill. You can only understand it. Okay, so goodwill is also a good. Shares. Many students find this thing difficult to digest as to can shares be goods? Yes, shares can be goods. I'll give you only one question to ask before you can decide if a particular thing is goods or no. The thing is, can you sell it? Can you transfer the ownership of that particular thing? The second is that thing movable? So, if the answer to both these questions is yes, that means it's a good. The things that you are asking these questions about, those things are goods. So you have to ask these two questions. The first thing is, can you sell it? The second thing is it movable? Now, it doesn't matter if you ask the second question first and the first question second. So I'll take the example of this pen. Can I sell it? Yes. Can I sell it? Yes or no? Yes, I can. Is it movable? Yes, it is movable. You can always take it to your place. It's a good. Is your phone a good? Yes. Why? Two questions. First, can you sell it? Yes. Second, is it movable? Yes. So when the answer to both these questions is yes, that means it is good. Let's take an example of books. Can you sell books? Yes, you can sell books. Are the books movable? Yes. At the same time, can you sell shares? Yes, you can sell shares. Are the shares movable? Pretty much. Shares can also move. I hold shares, and when I sell it to you, now you can hold them. So they are movable. But nowadays, shares exist in electronic form. So they are electronically transferred. But that does not mean they are not movable. They are still considered to be movable. Okay. So shares are also goods. What about trees? What about wood? What about minerals? What about grass? Are these goods? Look, anything which is attached to land, like crops, trees, grass, these all are goods. Why are these goods? Because they can be sold, crops can be sold, grass can be sold, trees can be sold. However, to sell trees, you will have to detach them from land. To sell crops, you will have to cut them from the land. To sell grass, you will have to remove the grass from the land. So, the only question, the only thing you need to consider here is, if something is attached to land, it can be said to be goods only when it is detached from land. It is removed from land. It is cut from land. So, a tree standing on a land, on a piece of land, is not goods. However, when you cut that tree, it becomes goods. Crops which are growing on land are not goods. However, when you cut those crops for harvest, they become goods. Same is the case with wood, same is the case with grass, same is the case with crops. So, whatever things are attached to land, they need to be severed, they need to be detached. Okay?